what's been on your mind since you started? What's been on your mind about it? Like since you started being in the HNM like sphere, where'd your head go? Alex, you go first, because I'm not sure who actually is first on Eure's menu, but I see Alex, Corinne, then me. So Alex is.
Mine is just like I actually felt bad over the past week and a half. I didn't like throw anything up on TikTok because like I just need to put stuff out there. And most of my stuff is going to be either on the kind of goofier side, make fun of yourself side. We're just all here to kind of work out and do like, or at least I am, right? Like, yeah, I'm trying to get big and everything, but I'm not the expert. I'm not getting on stage. Like, if y'all just want to follow something that we're going to have some really informative stuff, but also not take it too seriously, like, this is for you kind of thing.
Yeah. What about you?
As in me?
Yeah. Alex, Corinne.
For me, it's more of a personal pursuit that I want to build a physique naturally that I am accused of taking steroids for. Basically.
This is vanity.
Like, it's like, let's do
vanity.
Let's do
yeah,
it.
like I might get up on stage but I just want to like build something like undeniable and know that I've done it naturally. So it's more of a personal pursuit. It's not like I'm coming into this being like, yeah, I want to like become a full-time coach and make it like 100% my career. Like, I don't know what my path is, but going into the whole like HNM ideology, like for me, that's what it is.
Do you think you can
build an undeniable physique?
Yeah, where it's like
it's just about following through with the process. So it's like, and conquering whatever I need to in the process, like whatever problems arise, it's like solve.
So this is cool because like this is a great opportunity to kind of extract on something I didn't know we were actually gonna get into, right? Because Alex, you said something earlier that it was actually the same kind of thing, and Corinne's talking about this. So just to running off Corinne, you want to build on the physique that's like, you know, just you're getting accused. But here's the question: do you think it's possible? Do you actually believe it's possible to build something that's just undeniably indifferent to somebody who's obviously on gear, who would test positive, right? Do you think you could do that, or do you think anybody could do that?
I think that anybody could build a physique that would get them to the Olympia level, being natural. Would they win the Olympia? That's a different question.
Okay, so let's rephrase the question. How many things do you think people do wrong, having known what you know now, that you just realize all the people who think it's about steroids actually don't even know how many things you can conquer? You know what I mean? That's been really, it's on my mind, being like, the more you know, like Alex, we've been talking about the programming stuff so much, like as I've gotten into this, like it's insane, just like the level of untapped potential. Like 99% of the people who out there that just claim steroids literally don't understand. And you're like, there's so many areas, and people, for example, just think it's just test. It's like, no, like it's not test at all. Like, there's so many things you can do wrong, right?
Yeah, test just makes up for all the rest of it.
And you can still be on gear and have a shit physique.
That's really hard. Like the only people that I've known ever on it, I've only known like two. Well, I know guys in, like, you can tell, right? Because they're in the gym and on gear. Like, it definitely, you can tell. But I don't know. I guess I've known a couple guys, but again, older guys. Like, one guy's like 50 and he's on like TRT, but he's not there like trying to get big in the gym or anything. So like, it's almost like you can't, you're right, Corinne, you can't tell if they're not really going for it. But I think any younger dude is just, you just blow up. I just don't understand. Like, again, this guy's 53 now and he's in great shape, looks young, but he's still like a little bit pudgy, like, right? Like, he's kind of dad bod-ish, but if he really dialed it in, you're right, Steve, like, then you still kind of control your diet somewhat, right?
Yeah, like there's things that I've found that are just constants in being like a coach. Like obviously I have a big sample size of clients that I've worked with, and like I just see this, right? It's a consistency. And I've never really seen anybody who moves extremely well have a hard time putting on muscle. So we can cross off like 99% of the genetics accusations, just being like, oh, just genetics. Again, coming from the people who don't know how to move properly. Because it's coincidental, right? So then you start thinking, do they move improperly because they lack muscle, or do they move improperly because they're just chasing like numbers? And then chasing numbers is like, it's great for progressive overload if you know how to do it, but it's not good if you just like go in there, pull more weight. Why is my back bigger? Right.
And it's also like a lot of people start going to the gym never having had an athletic background. So like that was me, for example. So it's like spent most of my childhood, you're sitting down in school, you obviously have some posture issues coming out of it. You get into the gym when you're in your like early 20s and you already have these like dysfunctions in movement.
Yeah.
And you're starting to work out, you're not going to build a symmetrical physique straight out of the gate. Like that'll catch up.
That's a really good point. I take that for granted. Like I was an athlete throughout like high school and into college and stuff, and I just take for granted that you kind of instinctively know how to move. Like,
Yeah.
I played basketball in high school, and then worked for our basketball team down in Auburn and stuff. So I was traveling around with them and everything. I mean, nothing crazy, right? But at least base level athlete.
When I used to work at Good Life, we had this, what was it called, Corinne? Like the not lifts for kids, but it was like the time when they let the kids come in and like they sectioned off their equipment and they put like disclaimer saying like not kid friendly, don't use this, do this. So when that happened at the Good Life gym, the PTs would get incentivized to like take some kids through some workouts, right? Just show them how to use equipment that's safe. And there was never a time that I didn't see a kid who was playing a sport come in, be freakishly strong for no reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, what? How the hell are you so strong? And they have no form. Like the form is almost horrible. Like you're afraid to look at it. But they'll put like 400 pounds in their back. You're like, did I do it right? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? How'd you even do that? What? It's mind blowing. So then I think about, like you're saying, the leg up. Like imagine how much more you could have if you had that athletic background. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely.
I also
crazy.
think, Corinne. I mean, if you didn't have it, I mean, that's one topic, is how to get somebody. I mean, you have to do it all the time, right, Steve? You get people who come and spend money with you and say, hey, coach me up. But they're just like the guy who has enough money to pay for muscle intelligence, but not really the motivation because they didn't even go try in the gym before. So they're just like, look, I'll buy my physique, basically, right? Because the coach is going to tell me exactly how to do it. But getting over that first hump, I saw one thing the other day that was like, the heaviest, a lot of times the heaviest weight in the gym is the front door or whatever, right? Like just getting people in there moving semi-properly or even improperly, but just getting used to like, hey, this is going to suck for an hour, but it's the best hour of my day or however long it is. And I might be sore afterwards. I might not. And yeah, like getting them into this is part of me now is, I think, a topic that I don't know that anybody can answer, but it's just
it's because we all know, right? I had a friend of mine text me today. He went back to the gym for the first time in probably 3 years. It might even been longer. It's been probably actually since before COVID. And he went in for the first time and he's like, I forgot how good I could feel after. I'm like, yeah, but like, why'd you let yourself forget, right? Again, like you're taking things for granted, like that happens too fast. And it's like, yeah, it's a crazy thing. I don't know. I'm a stickler on this. I'm definitely a little more jaded from time in the field, being like, fuck off. Like, come on, like, you know things are bad for you. You know things are good for you. There's a time when it's just your time to be an adult. So just get in there, right? But yeah, the steroid thing's interesting. So I think about that all the time, like how, like, is it actually possible to get to this point? I don't think it's obviously possible to get to that point, the point where like you're like Phil Heath, like getting on stage, like gigantic. Absolutely no. There's obviously some things that are going on there, but I think that I actually don't know what a limit would be. So coming back to what you're saying, Alex, like what it actually would be, knowing what we know and taking it further and actually extrapolating on it, because we can't live in the hypothetical, right? We can't. Like we can only live in what we can do. Meaning, like we can't do it wrong and then be like, well, this is my genetic potential. It's like you did it wrong for 40 years and now you're tapped out. What would happen if you took Alex when he was 15 years old and gave him like optimal training? Yeah, exactly, right.
I know, makes me mad.
More tests in your fingernail than we have, all three of us, right? At age 15, like a hormonal young boy, right? Give him an optimal training program and say go, and then let him do that for like 30 years. Like it'd just be
Yeah.
It'd be insane.
Yeah, and stay natural, because that's the thing now, especially now, I think is like maybe it's just because I'm part of the culture more over the past whatever 5-6 years, but it seems like everybody's gonna run something at some point almost.
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah.
one time, it's just one cycle, but it's just like yeah, and it gets awesome, and then you got another cycle a couple years from now, right? Like it's just it's crazy. Yeah.
Yes. People don't talk about that though. There's other things too, man. Like I've had some conversations with people and they talk about how addictive it is. There's other things to it. And I'm not here to bash on that. That's for people's choices and stuff, but it's crazy.
Yeah. The
Absolutely
guy,
crazy.
Alex, the guy that I keep that we talk about. Sorry, Corinne. So there's another Alex that I work with, and he was running Dianabol, Test, Tren, E, like all the stuff, right? And he was like,
Not at the same time.
yeah, yeah,
At the same time.
he's insane. And he was obviously it worked. He was strong as hell. He was ripped all the time. He was doing all the stuff. He was gonna try and do a show, but this is the guy who also was like, yeah, I had a coach for 2 months, and he's gonna get me to a show. And then 2 months later, he's like, oh, I switched coaches because I want to do a show with this coach. And I just want to shake him and I'm not gonna shake him because he's massive, but he's like, dude, you're not sticking with any of this. Like, if you just want to run gear and be big at your local Albany gym, cool. But like, you're not doing like. And then finally, he tore his shoulder and could still do anything he wanted because, like, I talked to him about it. I was like, the gear is just letting you do it. And he goes, I know, and it's awesome. I was like, that's cool. But then he had to get like a scope cortisol shot, and so he's off his cycles for like 3 months now. He lost 30 pounds. He's definitely not as dense. He's shot. Like he's going to have to get on something to have any test because he just can't produce anymore. And he's 34. Yeah. So like he's just ruined his system. But yeah. So, and he comes into work and he's just like not nearly as like energetic. Like it's just insane. So he was like, yeah, I got off of it, for the shoulder. And like, I mean, obviously I know that it does bad things to my body. And like, I need, I just had another kid, all these kind of things. But then to the addictive point, he comes in, he's like, I can't do this. I'm gonna, if they don't prescribe me to get me back to 1500, I'm gonna do it myself. I was like, oh my God. I was like, even if they prescribe you, you shouldn't be at 1500.
I have a client that's 50 right now. It's crazy. Same thing. He signed up recently and he wrote me because of that. He's like, I feel great, but because he blew up. A lot of acne, a lot of problems just because it happens so fast, right? Yeah, it's crazy what it does to the mind, man. Because again, like there's obviously blood dysmorphia issues just alone without it, and then there's a whole slew of things that we're unaware of. That's crazy. That's the same guy that like you were talking about how fast he got strong, right? You're working out with.
Yeah.
So then look at that, right? Because you've been holding course, you've been slowly getting bigger, and like that's not going away for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going away.
Yeah, and he definitely has motivation issues to get in. Yeah, he's just like, it's crazy. And so off of it, he can like see it and admit all of it, but he's still just like, this is miserable. Like, why would I ever want to live like this? But his test is at like, full test is at like 98, right? Like, and then so his free test is at like 50 because he's just shot. But I think another one, now that I'm thinking about it, ought to be, because it's easy for me and for Steve, and you've probably run across it with women too, Steve, but like, Corinne, what are the pressures on the woman's side of either, obviously you guys aren't running like super trend like dudes are, or maybe women do, but like what comes across for women where you're just like, hey, this is my temptation to not go natural, like that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I can't say that. Well, and it's not like I'm really in the bodybuilding scene, like immersed in that community. I know, like I've been told that a lot of girls are on gear, like even at local shows. So it makes it kind of harder for like natural girls to feel competitive in competition, but I don't think there's nearly as much pressure to take anything
Yeah, well,
as a girl. I think the pressure is more like, you got to dress like this in the gym and you got to do these movements.
oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
That's so true. I had a
Yeah.
client actually today. I looked at her program, and her program has glutes 3 out of 4 days. Right, she's on off, and so I obviously spread it based on like shortened positions so she can get it all. But she's like, just wondering when I told you that my goal was to grow glutes, why I don't have more glutes. I'm like, out of 4 days, you're doing glutes 3 of them. Like, what more do you want? And she goes, well, I just don't see a glute day. I'm like, you think you need an hour
Of
training?
just glutes?
Yeah, you need an hour of just
Yeah.
training. And then, then actually, yeah, she was like, well, yeah, because that's what everybody else does. I'm like, okay, let me tell you a secret. So I kind of gave her a little bit of spiel, right? She goes, well, I appreciate you explaining it to me. But I'm like, that's why we're doing 4 days. Because if we keep that down, we can actually do more frequency and you're going to get more results, right? So she bought into it. But like, had I not had the conversation, she's like, my coach is shit. Because he's not giving me this. But it's ironic because it's like, he's not giving me what everybody else has. It's like, okay, but if I give you what everybody else has, then it's cookie cutter and I'm shit again.
Yeah. Feel like
Like,
I'm paying because, and he's doing the same thing. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it doesn't win. I would imagine though, to Corinne, about the whole steroid thing, there's probably zero pressure to do steroids from others, but the thing is that you almost know they're sneaking that shit.
Yeah, and but I don't think I think they're milder steroids too, like because I think
for
you've told
women,
me
right?
before
Like,
that like the sharps, the sharps bin in the locker room, the men's side is like full of needles all the time. Like the women's, we
They're
don't
all
have
mine.
any of that. Like,
Yeah.
I
so
don't think so.
they're
Do
not
they?
injectables.
Yeah, I literally don't know because all I ever see is that like Anavar is like the big one for women, right? Because you're
That's
right.
what I've heard too.
Yeah, but women aren't just injecting test.
No,
No, no.
'Cause that's like super bad and unhealthy for women, especially. But
What?
like, yeah, so that's why Anavar is like the top end for women. And are women like clearly on the men's side, there's like strictly natural and like then there's open where if a natural guy goes in, it's just like, okay, that's funny guy, like goodbye. But is it the same in women? Is there like a full natural only, or is it just kind of like women's bodybuilding? And
I
then,
think it's just, yeah, I think it's just women's bodybuilding.
yeah,
But it's kind of like
or physique or
there's
bikini or
entire
whatever. Right?
natural federations though, aren't
Yeah.
there? But
But yeah, if you just go to the IFBB or open ones, it's definitely not.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
not tested, I don't think.
Shared with you guys in our chat on Instagram, Beata's boss, right? If you go to that, if Corinne, you've seen her, she's on
Yeah.
HRT. She's on HRT. And a lot of girls are on HRT. And I think that's the hidden thing for a lot of women.
But is that
Yeah.
different than? I mean, that's clearly different than TRT. But like, that's what I'm saying. Like HRT is for
Well, it's
a plethora of
the
things,
H.
not just
The H is for hormone,
Hormone.
so
Yeah.
it could be TRT. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
they
some of
could
it
be on a
is.
little bit of test.
Getting test.
Yeah.
100%. It's just that they're also getting more estrogen, right?
Right.
Where it's like men, it's more about like test and then regulating and making sure that when you're getting test, from what I understand, is not turning into estrogen. You know what I mean, that's from what I understand. And when it goes wrong, that's when people start having problems, right? So, like, if you look at her, did you look at the profile, Alex?
No, I haven't. I'm on my phone now. I can't be switching. Yeah.
When you take a look, you'll probably text me and be like, what the fuck? Because, like, seriously, like, the way that she looks, and she's at all times 8% body fat for a woman.
Yeah.
Right? At all times. She
Yeah.
doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
Like, and like, hopefully she never sees this video. And if,
Yeah. When I release this one.
but yeah. But as a joke, do you know who Joel Seedman is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the joke of the internet, right? Literally the joke of the internet. That's her coach.
Wow.
Right. And she's jacked. And it's like, you don't do anything. Even Beata all the time is like, she doesn't do anything. Like she works out maybe once a week, constantly full of excuses, doesn't eat, fasts all the time, jacked.
Yeah.
Right?
That's gear. That is absolute gear.
And that's what's so frustrating. So it's like when you're in this field and when you're in these different areas or pursuits, like again, Corinne, looking towards the stage, it's like you have these things throwing that in your face. That's kind of the problem I have. Not because it tempts me, but because it's like, dear God, it's a frustrating industry.
Yeah, like even seeing how good I could look doing stupid shit like that doesn't make me want to do it.
No. Like that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
and it's kind of like there's no, I don't know, sure she looks great, but she didn't have to do a thing for it.
I mean,
So
no, I know. That's the that's also the switching. I mean, in the same vein, but that's like the whole like why everybody's upset about what generally should probably be a good thing with like the weight loss drugs like Ozempic and stuff.
yeah.
It's like all the people like me. I'm trying to lean towards like good for them. They're at least losing weight, and so therefore, because I'm selfish, I don't have to pay for their fat ass in the hospital anymore. Kind of stuff. Maybe overall rates go down. Blah blah blah. But like all the fitness community and people who have worked hard as hell to actually make the right choices and do all this are pissed. Like, wait, you're just going to take the shortcut?
Yeah. My opinion isn't even of that. It's that people are people, and you can make a drug, but there's underlying characteristics that you've not
Right.
addressed. And if you get rid of it there, cool, you bought some years. Nothing
Right.
in the history of humanity has ever been a one-sided equation.
Yeah.
Right? There's probably going to be some shit that comes up with any drug, just like it always does. If it's not tumors, it's shortened life or something, right? Something's going to happen. But the other side of it is like this person obviously has some stuff they haven't fixed. So give it some time. You're going to see that problem manifest in some other area, right?
Yep.
Or they'll just eat more. You know what I mean? And then yeah, that's usually how it works, right? Like if you find a weight loss pill, usually if you haven't conquered the shit, what you do is you just take more weight loss pills and eat more pizza.
Yep.
So it's one of those things, man. Like I don't have an opinion about the other thing though. I think it doesn't affect me at all because I'm not here being like, oh, you have to do this. Like, oh, I like working out, right?
Yeah.
I'm in it because I like it. So yeah, I don't know. Is it different for women?
what, like,
The perception of like having earned it, having to earn it.
I don't know, maybe I can't speak for all women. I think that it's kind of like you earn it, but a lot of other girls also don't really take it seriously.
Yeah, but do you think that it's frowned upon in the women's area, like to do, like Ozempic or something like that?
Oh, we're strictly talking about like weight loss drugs now,
Yeah, like if that was the case, yeah.
not steroids. Um, yeah, I think that a lot of people kind of share the opinion that it's like it's kind of just a band-aid fix. It's not going to be like people go on these drugs, they lose X amount of weight that they have to lose according to their doctors, and then once they achieve that weight loss target, they get off the drug.
Yep.
And
It's
that
like
is,
going on an Atkins diet or something.
but
Like
you still, yeah, but you still have the exact same lifestyle habits that put you in the position to get you on the drug anyway. So
Yeah.
then they just gain it all back, and then they get back on Ozempic or whatever drug it was.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been what's happened? Like I haven't been following it. Have people who've lost weight have they gained it back?
Well, yeah, I think so. Actually, I have a coworker who was on Ozempic for over a year. I think he lost like 50 or 60 pounds. He was pre-diabetic or diabetic before, and then he got to a position where um, it was like stable. He wasn't considered diabetic anymore. Now he's off the drug, but he still has the exact same lifestyle. So it's just a matter of time until he just gains it all back.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be around to see it happen.
Yeah.
That's sad, man. Like the people just don't learn, they don't understand. It's like, yeah, you have to go through this shit, right?
Yeah. And even so, like it for him, whenever he took his shot, the next day or the next 2 days, he felt like complete shit. And he would strategize like so that he would eat all his fried food or whatever during a specific time window where he knew that it wouldn't make him feel like shit as much. Like they
Yeah.
still try to just like skirt around it. Like
So I'm literally going at yeah. There's so much there. It's like there's so much just
yeah.
there. So these people will tell you though, I don't know how to lose weight. I've tried everything. And then they're strategizing in the next sentence how I can eat. I've actually already, just so you know, categorized what shit food is, and I know to eat it. I'm gonna eat it all before my drug. But then I'm gonna tell you I'm on the drug because I don't know how to lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this world.
Yeah, it's just all of it comes back to like more mentality versus and just that versus like you can't get in the gym and work hard. Well, sure you can. I can't figure this out. Sure you can. It's if you want to. It's like Mike Israetel says something like, "How do you motivate that person to get in to the gym?" Well, if a person's asking me how to get into the gym, then don't talk to me. Because if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, round table. Here's the first round table I'm gonna throw out there.
Go for
Again,
it.
New Year's cliche. Gotta ask, like, if it's New Year's, because Alex, you just brought it up. That was kind of what we were going off of. Like, if you actually had to say, just like if there's 1 or 2 or 5 or whatever you want to say, piece of information for somebody who's going in right now, what would it actually be? Like, what would it actually be to simplify it? Very organic, very authentic, like from your opinion on what actually fucking matters. Like, what would it be that you'd actually say to somebody who's starting now or wants to start? Not talking about the motivation, because I agree with you. It's like if you're having to talk about motivation, if you need a cheerleader, you're not making it.
Yeah.
How it works. Like you're not going to make it, just like anything else, right? But the person's there. What do?
I just say whatever schedule you decide on, right? Like I'm a morning person. They could be a late person. They could be a lunch. I'm going to get a lunch. No matter how hard you work that day, just show up every day first. Just get there.
Yeah.
Be in the gym. Lift crappy weight. Do it wrong.
Yeah.
I really like just start the habit of I now am a person who goes to the gym.
Yep. I have a very controversial and probably scripted opinion on this. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, the New Year's resolutioners are coming in. You should give them some welcome acceptance and like understand it's hard for them." I think fuck them. Seriously, my opinion is it's fucking frosh week or whatever you call it. Like, and it's like, no, you have to earn your stripes. How we get through this is you have to understand that if you want to be part of this crew, we all were embarrassed.
Yeah.
I didn't walk in here like this. I walked in having thrown a cigarette out in the parking lot, not understanding what to do. And I was like, the only thing I know is that I don't like this. And so I'm going to go in there and I'm like, girl. And I, like you said, lift it shitty. And I did. It was indeed shitty, very shitty. And I don't even know. I'm pretty sure I hurt my back on a row, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I was willing to not give up, right?
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to do this. And then there's the other side of it where they're almost like, I'm a victim. You need to understand me and welcome me into your environment. And
we can get over that.
It's like, no.
You came here.
Yeah, you came here. It's like, no, it's not my job. I'm not also saying at the same time it's my job to make you feel uncomfortable. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm happy you're here. I want to see you here in a month. I want to see you here in 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like if there's something that there's like outside that's it's like this is a you thing. That's my opinion. It's like you got to get in here. This is on you. Yeah. So you're just saying like just consistent. That's what Matt Frazier said. Did you read the Matt Frazier story or did you listen to him? He was talking about. I think
that's the one where it's just like you get up and do it. Get up and do it.
Yeah, and he had him over for a workout, and like I don't know who it was. It was a friend or if it was like an old. I think it was like But anyways, he had him over, and he did like I think two sets of squats or something like that. He had him warm up on the treadmill. He did like 2 sets of squats. And he goes, "That's it. Go home." And he's like, "Huh? What do you mean?" He goes, "That's it. That's it. You're done. Go home." And the guy was like blown away. He's like, no, I have to do more. Again, in that mindset of I am now right now I need to reset my life.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lose 100 pounds in the next 5 minutes, right? Like that's what I'm going to do. And that Matt was like, no, you go home now, and then you're going to come back tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to do it again. And then
make it easier to come back. Yeah, like the people who go in and like kill themselves and they're sore for 2 days. Like, of course, that sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, no, just go in there, move around a little bit. Start seeing where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what so just show up.
Yeah, that was Sean, by the way, Corinne. He went back. I'm really happy. He went back and he told me, like, I'm so glad I went. I feel really good. But I just said, like, just go, dude, if you need any advice, ask me, but just hit machine. Don't be complicated. Put your ass in some machine, push them. Don't worry about it being complicated. Just start whatever you can do, right? So simple. So, Corinne, roundtable, you're next. What would you, again, if there was one thing, what would it be?
Not necessarily gym specific, but like don't try to change everything at once. Choose one thing that you're committing to for the next week And then the following week, or maybe 2 weeks later, you can add something else that you're committing to 100% you're going to do it. But don't just like go in and be like, okay, I'm going to stick to these macros, and I'm going to do this workout plan, and I'm going to do the cardio and.
Yeah.
Because that's just too, like, you're already setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah,
Like,
because I think then once if you lose
pick up
one,
one habit at a
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you lose one, you're like, well, my day's shot. I had a cookie. I'm not gonna go to the gym.
Yeah,
Like, it's
so
not a big
fuck the
deal.
rest. Like, yeah,
Funny how
like
those
all or
things.
nothing.
Yeah,
Whereas like me and Alex, if we're together and we're having like if we're like nose deep in a like I was saying to Karen earlier, like a freaking shoehorn of beer,
yep.
we'll be like, want to go deadlift? Yes. we'll go. That's what we're doing. It doesn't really matter, right? We're having fun. But yeah, it's funny because that exact strategy works with other people though, right? And so it's really important for people to understand where they are on the spectrum. Being like, what class of person are you here? Are you beginner or are you advanced, right? It's like obviously you're a beginner, so like give yourself some grace here. Because if you were to have like a Chris Hemsworth, I always use that analogy of like the top tier client model, right? Where it doesn't, he's not by muscularity top tier, but he's getting paid $1 million to be Thor, which means you can throw the fucking kitchen sink. There's no time here, Thor. Get in there. Here's your macro. Here's your broccoli. It's not cooked. You're gonna eat it, right? You're just gonna put it in your mouth and swallow. Like these are things that you can manage that person. But somebody who's just starting, it's like, no, like I think you were saying, it was Alex, you said like the heaviest thing you're gonna pull today is that door.
Yeah.
Like that's your job today, is to get into the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Go, and you're not allowed to leave for 60 minutes. And then when you're done, I'll see you later, right?
Yeah.
But if you had to pick something though, Kareem, so I'm gonna definitely pick on you. If you had to pick something that they're gonna do though, like actually physically do, that's probably in your opinion. And then you're right.
In the gym.
Well, it doesn't or out, but just what's the most important thing that you think that they could do to actually get results or stimulate some kind of change?
What's your first building block of that one to build on itself?
Well, you literally already said it. It's consistency.
It's because I showed up to the call first and I'm on Steve's left. So
Oh, it's not consistent because consistency is after day one. It has to be now. What's the first thing they do?
Just get in there.
No.
Just go lift something. Like,
do you think what's
go
important?
pick up 400 pounds.
Do you think it's lifting though, or do you think that they should do cardio? Because that's something you're going to hear.
I think lift.
Yeah. Why?
Hell yeah. Because I ain't no bitch. Sorry, hey, by the way, we do have to decide if we're going to be able to cuss on this podcast. So, okay. All right.
Otherwise, it'll just be like, you're not going to hear anything.
No, just like start doing resistance training. And you get a little bit of cardio in there too. Like once you get advanced enough, or if you do enough repetitions, like, but resistance training for sure.
Why do you think though? Like what? Like genuine, I'm actually
You build
curious.
strength. You build strength, which is good for your bone health, your joints. Like you build muscle, so you actually can increase your BMR.
Yeah, I'm curious when you think, not because I'm trying to press you. That's just the byproduct, right? I'm curious because I have like a two-sided opinion on this. Like I believe both, right? The problem is that it's based on the person, and you're never gonna know. Because like if you actually look at the average person who is starting right now, they're overweight, right? And so
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I believe the best thing they can do is to get themselves in shape, and you're gonna get the quickest return on cardio. You will, 100%. However, here's the problem. Psychologically, we view treadmills like punishment devices, right? Like yeah, and not only that, they know it. Like you look at the treadmill and you're like, oh, I have to go spend time and give my soul to the treadmill now. So it's only furthering a negative connotation with the gym. Like I'm here to pay my dues, and it's not a good thing. Like we're not paying that, right? That's why I don't like it, because that's like I even though I actually know it probably would have a quicker return on investment, because like the adaptations you get from cardio are very quick. Like we've talked about zone 2 before. You can make massive like mitochondrial changes with zone 2 within 2 weeks. You do 2 weeks, right? And huge changes can happen that can help the person's metabolism start changing over and start burning body fat at rest. And how long does it take to build muscle?
The longest time in the whole wide world.
And not only that, but also how good are they at moving when they first get in there? Pretty shitty, right? And from my experience in a gym, the most people that go in there, like not only they're bad at moving, but they're so bad at moving they end up hurting themselves if they're actually alone. And then what ends up happening is they quit, right? And it's not like they shouldn't, because I'm actually on the side saying they should lift, but it's like what's the answer for them knowing what I just said?
What? Yeah. How's it? Yeah. How's it going to keep them? Yeah, to show up. Yeah, without hurting themselves, but also it's got to be enjoyable. And if you stare at a treadmill for at least now, you can like watch a show or do whatever. Like you should be able to.
But either way, you're going to have to acquire the skill. Like whether you start with cardio or not, you're going to have to go through the skill acquisition part of it. And even if you start with cardio, whenever you start lifting, you're still going to move like shit.
Move like shit, yeah. Yeah, it's just more about like the question of what do you think is most important now in the first week, right? What is it? Are you trying to gain traction or are you trying to gain results? What's the goal? Because you're trying to gain traction, I believe the answer is definitely like the weights. Hit the weights because you're going to get more bang for your buck in 6 months, right? And cardio will pay its dues in the first month, and then it'll do fucking nothing. And chances are, past the first week, you're going to start eating more. And you're gonna be like, why am I so hungry? It's like, yeah, because you're doing too much cardio and you don't understand that your hunger is elevated and you're gaining weight now, right?
Mm.
Very real, right? It's funny little situation. Yeah, I just think it's an interesting thing because like when you look at the complicated thing that is a human, there's so many little dancing parts to this, right? Like how do you say one thing is the right thing? I think it's also pretty interesting, man, like thinking about how, because we're in this platform, like right here, this call, I was just thinking about how like the simplest thing is actually the fact that every single human has one of these fucking things. Meaning like stop being fucking dumb. And if you don't know how to do an exercise, Google it. Stop thinking you need to go in there with a badge of honor. You know what I mean? Because like somebody else having their own platform might not say that because they're like, oh, body means a trainer. It's like, I don't give a shit. Like that's not why we're here. I don't care if you pay. Just you have Google.
Yeah.
Like this has access to all the
Never mind.
ever.
Never mind Google. Like you have access to Chat GPT.
Right?
You could
Like,
literally ask it like, how do I lose weight? And then you can just fall down a rabbit hole. It'll tell you exactly what to do, like step by step.
Yeah, but there's also like countless videos, like YouTube, like the amount of knowledge you have access to in your hands. It's like there's no reason you can do this, right? So it just comes down to you. What are you gonna say? It looks like I cut you off.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna add, like you could literally ask ChatGPT to write you a program, a 7-day split, whatever it is, and it'll do it. Like, and it's gonna be like evidence based and yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was to interject, because I have to go now, I'm the third in the round table here. It sounds like such a simple little thing, but it's actually, I think, the most important thing. You gotta not be a little bitch, like in every single ounce of it. Like actually, though, I think that that's a very supremely valuable action item, meaning that you are not going to want to do any of this. I had a client that said this very, very elegantly. He said that the honeymoon phase has ended. I'm like, damn right. Good. What are we gonna do about it? Right? Because he paid, he signed up. He signed up, and because he signed up, again, euphoria. Oh my god, I'm with the coach. This is great.
Yeah.
And then what does it turn into in 2 weeks? It turns into squats, lunges, leg presses. It turns into a workout plan and not enough food.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What is
like I have so, yeah. Like I have such little patience for the little bitch attitude. I mean, I talk about this lady at work all the time. She's just like, yeah, she goes to CrossFit and she'll go like 3 times a week, which is great. I'm like, that's great. What else are you doing? She's like, well, I made cookies with my daughter and had 8 of them last night. And like, I just really like, oh, it's just so hard. I was like, it's not that fucking hard.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's not about it being hard. It's about the fact it's not what you've done. That's it.
Right.
It's not even hard. Like you literally just go in and you just extend and move your elbow joint. It's retardedly easy.
Yeah.
It's not what they've done, right? And so because of that simple piece of information, every part of their soul is going to push against it. Once that euphoria drops, that's why you see these peaks and valleys. Corinne, you know them because you were a service advisor. What were the peaks and valleys? Like 3 months, 9 months, and like 1 year or something like that. They were like actually statistically low. So you'd have to do like calls to get clients back in, and
Yeah.
you could actually see if the client was going to drop their membership. So you'd have to make sure you're doing things to help them, right? So what I'm trying to say is that like if that piece of information actually can be utilized, it would be to understand that that's your job, is to actually not be a little bitch. It's not because I'm not calling you a bitch. I'm saying that's your job. You're gonna want to be, because once that euphoria in the first week wears off, what are you gonna do? You're gonna want to stay home when it's raining. Any excuse, I don't have the right shoes, my iPod isn't charged, whatever the excuse is, right? And then those of us who don't give a shit, we're like, I go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, that would
This
be
is
it.
my job. This is me. This is what I do.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's a funny little thing trying to think back when you first started. When did you start first working out, Alex? When was your first day?
First day with you?
No, working out.
Dude, I would say my first like true like, all right, I'm gonna come up with my own program throughout the week, blah blah blah, would have been honestly right before COVID started. Because again, I was always like a basketball player athlete. Like I'd work out, I'd go through spurts of like 3 months at a time, look really good, then kind of get off of that, but still always just be active. But like as far as weights being, all right, this is what I do to work out now. Like I'm not going to play basketball, do all this kind of stuff, is probably like 3 weeks before COVID started.
You've
I was
only been
like,
lifting for 5 years?
like like trying to do this. And
Wow, good for you, man.
as we've discussed, like I was always doing like the kind of hybrid, like metabolic type stuff. And so like I was always shredded, but it's definitely now in my mind just like a skinny, like that's that's easy to do to me. Like you just go kill yourself at a class and don't eat too much. Yeah, you can be a skinny, shredded, like you're gonna look kind of muscular, but you're gonna be like Brad Pitt Fight Club shredded, but not be able to do anything because you're 165 pounds soaking wet. But yeah,
It's funny, man, because like I can see the air igniting around Corinne right now. Like she's lighting it on fire because you're just like, it's easy. It's easy. Like this is like you just go and like do a class and just don't eat.
do it, man. Like what?
And then it's funny because Corinne is like, but it's easy to deadlift 400 pounds. That's easy.
I know, and I'm like, ooh.
You just put your hands in the bar and stand up. Isn't that what you do?
Well, I mean, back to that might just be that, right? Dudes naturally have more teeth, which helps with body fat burning and all that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, and my macros were garbage, like, but I was like at 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day with like 130 to 150 grams of protein because I just didn't know any better. And I was like,
Really?
but at least I know that I'm burning enough and moving enough throughout the day and like just kind of eating relatively good on a total calorie basis. So yeah, I was shredded, but it was like I was a little bit bigger than meth head shredded, but it was like meth head shredded, right? Like, yeah.
Wow, crazy, man. When did you said, Corinne, you started in college?
On and off since high school, but consistently and with lifting is since 2018.
Yeah.
Ish. And like I would lift weights before, like when I was in high school, but I was more of a cardio bunny. And then on and off through university, like I would stop going during semesters and then go back in the summer kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's about the same.
But
Yeah, but like to actually get dedicated and be like, no, lifting and
yeah,
lifting heavy or try and lift heavy while dying in cardio
yeah,
is since about that time too.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to go skirt through my photos to figure out when I started. It was in my 20s, but I
Yeah.
don't know who everyone was.
Haven't you said before, like mid-20s?
Yep. I have to figure that out. I'll have to go through there and check. It's like it's around there. It's mid-20s ish. It's crazy, man. It's just a funny thing because like you don't want to guilt yourself for like not knowing things because you don't know what you don't know, and again, you can't live in the hypothetical. But again, it just comes back to the first thing you said in the beginning of this call, but how just like the optimal process being handed to that 15-year-old version of yourself, what would change? Because when I went in there, it was like my whole workout was geared around one thought, and that would be eventually basically the cause or the like just metabolic stress being like that was my goal. I didn't know it.
That
But
was hard. I'm sweating. Like my heart rate was I was the guy in between sets. Even when I started this doing jumping jacks to keep my heart rate up, like instead of, yeah. So, but again, at that point, I was like, no, I want to be shredded and in shape. I didn't know that I wasn't trying to build muscle or that there was almost no way I could actually just keep building muscle doing that much and not eating enough kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's a cool pursuit, though. That's for sure.
Mhm.